We spend so much time thinking about the foods we eat, what we drink, is it organic, etc. But we may not be paying enough attention to what we are cooking with, what we are drinking out of, and what we are eating on. In this series of short videos, I'm going to show you how to detox your kitchen in 3 important areas: bakeware, cookware, and utensils, plastics, and lastly, soaps, towels, and cleaning tools. You will discover healthy kitchen swaps to create a non-toxic kitchen to support your health, the health of your family, and the health of the planet. Make sure to watch all 3 videos to get all of this crucial health information. I'm Zanana Rose, and this is Natural Living with Zanana, where I share information, tips, product reviews to help you live a more healthy, sustainable, natural, and non-toxic lifestyle. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so excited that you are joining me today. Let's get started with the video. In this video, we are talking about plastics. So there's been a lot of talk about BPA in recent years, and BPA has been banned, which is excellent. There is not that much BPA out there anymore, but after BPA, lots of Gen X bisphenol chemicals came on the market. So they can be BPS, BPF, BP anything. If it still has those bisphenol chemicals, it's simply a regrettable substitution and can be just as bad, if not worse, than BPA. So we need to be thinking about that, looking out for it. We also have to think of the environmental impact when we're making anything out of plastic. So first, let's talk about drinkware. These are Triton cups. I bought these before I knew about this, guys, and you may have things in your cabinet like this too. So if you do have some Triton, which is basically next generation bisphenol plastic, you could still use it if you want to. Obviously, you could get rid of it and steer clear of anything that's plastic. That would be the safest. But if you do have these around and you want to keep using them, wearing them out until they start to get scratched, then go ahead. But you need to just follow a few simple rules, and that is to only use cold water in these items. And obviously, you wouldn't want to heat anything in these items because the heat can promote the leaching. Heat, acidic types of foods and beverages you would not want to put in here, like maybe kombucha or that sort of thing. I wouldn't drink in this Triton plasticware. So you just need to be aware of that, or just do away with it. And for me personally, I'm not going to buy anything else like that. There's plenty of alternatives, and let's look at those, guys. So if you bought these for your outdoor area, you want to use something that isn't going to break. Maybe it's for your pool area or you're going camping or whatever. So you can use stainless steel. And there's lots of great companies that make things like this that are stainless steel. These are made by Clean Canteen. These are excellent for wine or any type of beverage that you want a non-breakable receptacle. So that's a really good option. Another one is these Silly Pints. So these are really fun. We got these at McMenamins because we're passport holders. If you live in Oregon, you know what that means. And Silly Pint is great. These are silicone cups. Again, not breakable. We can totally drop it and it doesn't break. They're very fun and a really good alternative to glass. Of course, there's always glass. So glassware is perfect. It's very safe. You can even use something like a canning jar. That's a very good alternative if you're not worried about breakage. And then, of course, there's ceramic. So ceramic, of course, can hold heat, hot items, and anything else you would want to put in it. Now, let's move on to water bottles, because that is another area where we can find lots of next-gen products. No longer BPA, but There's Triton and other types of plastics that are next generation bisphenol type of material. So these are a few that my husband got a while back. We are going to be getting rid of these with our upcoming move for sure. And these are the types of things that we have transitioned to. These are really great. These thermo flasks, you can get these at Costco and probably lots of other places. Nice stainless steel on the inside. This is insulated and it's got this really nice silicone bottom so that it sticks to surfaces and doesn't make a lot of noise when you're setting it down. So that is really nice. So thermoflask is great. Hydro flask is also awesome. This is a coffee cup. Now you've got a plastic lid. I don't know what we're gonna do about that, you guys. I'm curious what is gonna happen down the road because it's less than ideal to be drinking this out of plastic, especially if it's very hot coffee or tea. Now I did get a bamboo tea tumbler and this one is really great. It's got stainless steel on the inside, really beautiful design, and this has a lid that just comes right off and you basically drink it like this. So this one doesn't have a plastic lid at all. Awesome job for this company. I got this one at Mountain Rose Herbs. I'll put a link to all of these options down in the description, so be sure to check that for all of these resources. And this one is just a simple, lightweight stainless steel water bottle. So that is a really good option as well. Now, last but not least is this ceramic lined water bottle. And this one is also super safe and a very good alternative. Now, you can get glass water bottles. Sometimes they're covered in a little sleeve, like a silicone sleeve, or you could just use something like this to carry your water in, as long as you know that you will be careful and you're not going to risk breaking it. So this brings me to outdoor dinnerware. I got this set recently at Williams-Sonoma. It's plates and bowls, and I've got this salad bowl, and these are all made of melamine, you guys, which melamine is approved by the FDA, but not for microwaving any foods in it or anything that is hot. So that really limits you with this stuff. Obviously, I wasn't aware of that when I bought it, and some of you may have some of these things in your cupboard, also not aware of these things when you purchased it. Now, obviously, I'm not quite ready to get rid of it. So what am I gonna do? Salad in here is fine. As long as it's cold food, it's probably going to be okay to use it. You want to be careful with hot foods and acidic foods. Now, salad dressing is acidic, so how do you handle that? So I would say time in the dish is another important factor. If you can just put it in here, eat it as quickly as you can, then you're going to reduce the risk of any chemicals leaching out of this melamine. Now, if you want it to be 100% safe, if you have any predispositions or you are dealing with some sort of illness, autoimmune disease, a hormone-related disease, then you may want to be a little bit more conscientious about this. For me, if I'm eating out of this maybe just once a month or very infrequently, then it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. So this is an individual decision for everyone, but we have to remember that we vote with our dollars too, you guys. So when we buy things like this, we're telling the company to make more of it. And if we stop buying things like this, then they're going to have to come up with better, safer alternatives for us. And these companies will slowly start to transition out of these toxic types of substances. So remember that when you're shopping. Now that you know, you know. And so you have to spend wisely. Vote with your dollars, guys. Now, obviously, there are some things that just don't come in any other type of material, at least not that I know of, like salad spinners. So I've got this OXO salad spinner. I've had it for quite a few years. It's actually cracked a little bit up here, but it's still working very well. I don't think there's anything else out there as far as a salad spinner. So of course I'm going to use this. Now, it doesn't come into contact with heat or anything like that. So for items like this, go ahead. You've got to buy plastic. That's the only option. But when there are alternatives, you can choose the alternatives to plastic instead. It's better for your health and better for the environment. So next up in plastics is cutting board. I've got this old cutting board. I've had this for a long time, you guys. It's time for me to ditch it. I can see lots of scratches here, and that's what happens with plastic over time, is that our knives start to scratch it, and then little bits of the plastic is getting into our food. And that's no good. It's also getting into the environment. So this is how we get microplastics and plastic just out there in our environment. Now, the other thing is that this is going to be very hard to dispose of, or if I am just throwing it in the trash, I've just thrown a giant piece of plastic in the garbage. And a lot of times we buy plastic because we think that it's more clean than wood, but they've done a lot of studies on plastic, and it actually shows that they are not cleaner than wood. Wood actually has enzymes and things like that in it, and as long as you're cleaning it well after each use and drying it, there's no reason that it will collect more bacteria than plastic. And in fact, the plastic ends up collecting more bacteria than bamboo or wood. And that is partly because the bacteria can get into these grooves and scratches that you've created from cutting on it. So, time to ditch the plastic. One other thing about plastic cutting boards is that sometimes they put antibiotics in them, like triclosan or Bactroban or some of those other antibiotics, just to keep the bacterial count down. And that's no good either, guys, because we don't want those antibiotics at all. These cutting boards can also release phthalates, and they can have BPA and even PFAS in them. So we need to really be getting rid of and not purchasing any more plastic cutting boards. Now, what are the alternatives? Well, bamboo is a great alternative. It is a little bit hard, so it can be hard on your knives, and so you just have to be aware of that because it is a harder material. And of course, there's also wood. You can care for these by rubbing some oil into them. I usually do coconut oil or something like that. It just keeps the wood nice and healthy. This one is so soft, you guys. It's a really, really nice piece of wood, a very nice handmade cutting board. So stick with wood or bamboo, get rid of plastic. So next up, let's talk about storage. So we need to talk about baggies. Obviously, this is plastic, guys. I still have some baggies left. What I'm doing is just using them, and I wash them out and reuse them as much as I can. There's no harm in that. With this, we're thinking about sustainability and just this plastic going into the landfill. And that's not good, guys, especially if we're just using these one time, throwing them out, one time, throwing them out. We need to start thinking about these things for sure. And then, of course, there's the heat factor. So we certainly don't want hot foods, acidic foods, anything like that in these baggies, fatty foods. Those are all going to promote leaching of the chemicals that are in this plastic bag. So what are the alternatives to things like plastic baggies, saran wrap, and the like? Well, we've got stasher bags. These are silicone, and while silicone is not yet recyclable, so it's not good for the environment either, it's very durable, it's multi-use, you can use it over and over again, wash it, nothing is going to leach out of this. It is made from sand or silicone, so it is perfectly safe. Obviously, it's plasticized, but that doesn't seem to be a problem in the studies that have been done so far. So the stasher bags are a super good option. There are other alternatives like this Forester bag that I have here. So just look out for those silicone bags. I'm starting to build a little bit of a collection. You can also get these silicone lids as well as a replacement for saran wrap. So I am using these. The only problem is that they don't quite fit all of my containers. So you've got to look out for that and try to match that up well. And then there's these beeswax wraps. I do have some of these. This is Trader Joe's Ditch the Plastic. I don't love this one. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't had the greatest luck with these beeswax wraps. So let me know if you have used them, if you like them, and have figured out how to make them work well. I haven't tried this beeswax one, I don't think, yet. But so far, not a huge fan. So I'm looking out for other alternatives to that for sure. And then storage containers. Glass is going to be the best option, you guys. Of course, you could use ceramic with a lid. That would work just fine as well. But glass is always a very good option. These are really nice Pyrex with a silicone and glass lid. I love these, you guys. I got a set not too long ago at Kitchen Caboodle, I believe. And then I have these old clear lock glass storage containers with these lids. Now, these are starting to fall apart, and that's the thing about plastic. After a while, it will start to wear out, and then we're putting it in the garbage. You want to make sure that none of the plastic is going to come into contact with your hot food, and you don't want to put the plastic lid in the microwave when you are heating the food, because that can cause some of the plastic to off-gas into the environment. And then the next thing to think about is your colanders. I've got this old plastic one that I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of, you guys. This is especially not good if you're going to be straining hot foods like pasta or something like that in it. Then you're pouring this hot boiling water and hot food into this plastic. Plastic and heat just don't mix. So that is why I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. Now, you could hold on to it and only do vegetables and fruits and things like that in it if you would like to. Mine's in pretty good condition, so I think I could give it away to the thrift store and that would work. Someone would get some good use out of it. What I have purchased instead is this lovely set of 3 stainless steel colanders. I love it, you guys, because I have all these different sizes. I can use this one for fruit. I can use each one for different things, pasta and larger items. I really love these, and they're very, very lightweight. And then this can just be recycled when you are done with it. I think these are gonna last me a really long time. And then I've also got this expandable basket, so it just goes right over your sink. I do use this one as well. Comes in handy for rinsing kale or vegetables, broccoli, that sort of thing. So this is a very good option. Now, the other thing to think about is your cheese grater. I recently got this one. It's 100% stainless steel. I totally love it. It's got a little lid on the bottom, so you can grate your vegetables or cheese in it, slide this off, and then just put whatever it is into your dish. So that is really excellent. I got that, I think, on Williams-Sonoma. Now, this is my old cheese grater. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm in love with this cheese grater. It's one of my favorites. The thing that I love about it is that the grater blades are very close together, so it grates so fast. They're much closer together than the blades on this one. You can see big rows in between this one. So I don't like this one as much, but this is plastic and you can see that it has cracked. And so that's what happens with cheese graters over time. Because of the pressure, they just crack. And then here we are throwing this plastic into the landfill. So with anything that we're buying, just being conscientious of the plastic is very important. Okay, just a couple more things to talk about here, guys. If you are enjoying this video, make sure to give it a like, hit the thumbs up button, share it with any friends that you think might enjoy this information, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next video. Hit the bell and you'll get notified every single week when I put a video out. And remember, there's one more video in this series, so you want to make sure that you get that information as well. So just to wrap it up here, there are a couple more things to think about. One is our blenders. So this is a Triton container. It definitely has next generation bisphenol ingredients in it. And that is just not going to be good for hot foods. Like we said, acidic foods, oily foods, that is going to encourage leaching for sure. So alternatives would be stainless steel or glass. This is my old glass blender. I've held on to this. It's great. It still can be used. And then I've purchased Vitamix's new stainless steel canister, and I've got a whole video about this, you guys. So I will put a link here to that as well if this is something of interest to you. And then last but not least is to-go containers. We've got to look out for those. These can be lined with both PFAS, so they can also be lined with BPA, so no good at all. An alternative is to bring in your own glass containers like the ones that we had on the counter a little bit earlier, and you can use those instead. Just bring them to the store and have them put it in your stasher, or have them put it inside of your glass container instead. I've got to get into the habit of doing that as well, you guys, but it's a super good habit to have because this is not recyclable and we just don't know what these containers are lined with. And then we also need to be looking at our cans. Glass is a great alternative. Everything that we can find in glass is better. This actually says BPA free on it, and so does Mere Glynn, but it says not intentionally lined with BPA. Now, what the heck does that mean, guys? So it doesn't intentionally have BPA in it, but it could unintentionally have BPA in it? I don't know. Something doesn't sound right about that. And then not to mention that it doesn't actually say what this can is lined with. And like we said, it could have a next generation BPS, BPF, another bisphenol that we know is just simply a regrettable substitution. So minimizing our purchasing of cans, minimizing eating canned soups or anything like that. I usually just buy these two if I can't find them in a glass container instead. And again, we vote with our dollars, so every time we're making a purchase, we're letting that company know whether we like their product or whether we don't. So I'm hoping some companies start to come up with some good alternatives, aren't you? That's it for today, guys. I will see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. I wish you the very best of health.